Hello. As usual, I'm late to the party, but would you believe it, even before the latest spate of videos about determinism, I had a plan to make a video about determinism, or the lack of it, but for those of you who make videos, you will know how it is one thing to have an idea about a video, while it is a second, third and fourth thing to make the video and upload it. So, is the world determined, predetermined? Is the universe deterministic or not? This question has been in the minds of people a long time ago, even the ancient Greeks. Democritus was the one who said that everything in the world is predetermined and follows a certain order, while for Epicurus, randomness was at the bottom of everything. It so happens that Epicurus was right, as modern physics, modern science proves. As to those two videos by Old Mystic and Inmendum, it is pitiful to see how grown-up men are so ignorant about modern physics. I was reading a book by the philosopher Grayling lately, and he says, the biggest problem is not pure ignorance, but the illusion of understanding. Most of us who are not scientists have difficulty reading the new books for laymen written by scientists, because you know how it is. Life and then television and the computer, not much time is left for reading, but we should make an effort. I want to highly recommend to you the books that I will show in the rest of the video. One is The World is Built on Probability by Lev Tarasov. It can be found on Amazon. He describes with great clarity the concepts of randomness, why randomness is fundamental, the different laws of probability. Some equations and formulae are given as well, but there are also texts for lay people. Another book that I had read before that talks about that is Sean Carroll's book, From Eternity to Here. There, the second law of thermodynamics is described at length, and the conclusions that it leads to also. Sean Carroll has a channel on YouTube, but I haven't watched many of his videos. It is best, though, to read his book. Another book that I'm in love with is David Deutsch's The Beginning of Eternity. I will try in the future to get the gist of these several books and make videos about them. And one more book that deals with the fundamentality of randomness is Jacques Monod's book Chance and Necessity. And there are other books that talk about that. By the way, the term stochastic is a counterpart of deterministic. It is a synonym of probabilistic, I think. It has to do with randomness. No matter how far, how deep we look in the world, discover about the world through science, we discover randomness. And those people who believe in determinism say, well, we haven't discovered it yet. You just can't know that there isn't anything deterministic below this randomness that quantum mechanics has discovered, for example. But this determinism is only subjective, and it is due to ignorance of what will follow. Now, the physicists love to give examples with balls on a billiard table. And if you hit one ball, it hits another one, you can, in principle, if you know the impetus, the speed and the direction of one ball, you can calculate later where it will be. And also, if one ball collides with another ball, you can, in principle, calculate the change of its impedance, speed and direction, and you can know the future. In different words, it can be said that these balls will remember their past. This is just a figure of speech. But imagine on this table, a very large table, and innumerable, very many balls, which is the situation in the world. All the particles, elementary particles, there are many. In that case, you cannot predict the future after some time of these balls or particles moving and hitting each other, how their direction, speed and impedance will change. You cannot do that because the first particles that hit other particles, it still can be calculated. But they continue hitting other particles, which then continue other particles, and so on. And then from one line of events, a particle hits a particle from a different line history of events. And so that is why it cannot be predicted what will happen in such a situation in a later moment of time. For example, this is the second world of thermodynamics, and this is the second law of thermodynamics. For example, if you have, in a vessel, you have a gas. At the beginning, if it has low entropy, hot gas in one part of this vessel and cold gas in another part of the vessel with a wall between them. If you remove this wall, the particles will begin to mix, and the entropy will increase because there are a lot more ways that these particles will be in disorder than there are ways in which the particles are in a certain order. So, when entropy reaches the highest measure, it can, the beginnings can be different, the starting points can be different from which the biggest entropy is achieved. And when you have the final vessel with the biggest entropy, it cannot be guessed exactly what was the beginning. That means the particles do not have memory from where they started, so to say. That is just a figure of speech. Let's consider this view, determinism. What does it mean? It means that everything that has appeared and every phenomenon has been predetermined at a certain time in the past. That means that at a certain moment and point, something or somebody has started everything moving. But is that possible?
So the doctrine of creation again would be the doctrine that God has brought everything other than himself into being without any material cause.
The religious are wedded to the view of determinism because in their mind God has created everything and things have developed and reached this state as they are now. But is that possible? Let's say that at the beginning God created the Big Bang with the mind that people in his image will appear 13.72 billion years later. But is that possible? He would have to know how all the particles will travel, what collisions there would be, and what reactions will happen later. But that is not possible to be predicted. At the moment of Big Bang, you can presuppose what class of things would appear and what class of phenomena would be in the future. For example, there would be something like stars, something like galaxies or nebulae of galaxies, but you cannot predetermine exactly what the specific objects that you find now in the universe. But there is one class of objects which it is not possible to predetermine from that time, and that is living beings, living objects. It is a complete novelty. Because, for example, if you throw a die, there is randomness on what number will come at the top, 4 for example, but you know from beforehand that only 6 numbers can come on the top. You know what the probability is, it is 1/6 that 4 will come on the top. If you toss a coin, the probability is 1/2. But on a roulette table, you also know all the outcomes that you can achieve. And then you can calculate the probability of any number coming as a result. But there are things that are complete novelty. They are not present or can't be present in anyone's consciousness that then can be picked. And life is one such thing. It is a complete chance. Mutations are a similar thing. They are absolutely random events. Selection doesn't happen at the microscopic level. So mutations are just mistakes in copying DNA. Jacques Monod says probably due to quantum perturbations. So in certain animals, mistakes in the copying of the DNA has occurred. That is complete chance, complete randomness and novelty. But when this mutation is present already in the DNA of the organism, it is multiplied many times in all cells, and then necessity appears in the form of natural selection. If this organism, this mutation makes this organism a lot worse for some reason, then it does not survive and does not leave descendants. But other organisms that do not have that bad mutation, some of them may have better mutation and may become more fit for the certain circumstances or the change in natural circumstances. They would survive and would leave descendants, and so on and so on and so on. So in biology, at the bottom of everything is randomness as well. But also there is necessity, there is order at the end. I would like to say a few words about 2 other books. One is From Eternity to Here by Sean Carroll, and it is a very good book. It is a very big book. There are many things that one can learn from it, but there is one thing that I want to say now. He reviews not only how everything started, but how everything will end. And physics predicts that because there is inflation, because objects in the universe go far away from each other, and this is increasing because of dark energy, which acts contrary to gravitation, which attracts masses. That would mean that in the far, far future, it is billions and billions of years from now, everything will come apart. First, planets, stars, galaxies, at the end even atoms will come apart, and the things that atoms are made of, quarks, they will even split, so everything will be nothing. There will be quantum nothingness. And physicists say that from such a state, when the symmetry has been broken, new universes can appear. About symmetry. The bigger the entropy is, there is more symmetry. Because when the entropy is small, it is usually asymmetrical. So the beginning of the universe was correlated to some kind of breaking of symmetry. Sean Carroll also says one very important thing in that book. It's about terminology, because we used to call the universe everything that exists, and we knew only of our universe. Even we considered that the Milky Way is the whole universe. But with the advancement of science, we see that that is not true, and it is possible that there are regions of the universe that we can't see, that we are not in touch with, and it is possible that there are different fundamental physical laws there. Also, there might be other universes and so on. So he suggests that what we have been studied until now and what we can observe should be called only the part of the universe that we can observe, the observable part of the universe. What we used to call universe is this, the observable part of the universe. And our part of the universe plus other parts that maybe we cannot observe, or other universes, or the beginning quantum state, all that is actually the universe, because that is all or everything that exists. And about a lot of it we don't know anything yet. But science is developing, and scientists will discover many more things.
I think that God, as the infinite creator of all space and time, could create separate space-time manifolds, or create a universe so vast that there would be different causally unconnected domains within one universe. So once you have an infinite transcendent creator, there's simply no problem with the scope of the space-time world that he brings into being.
One more thing I want to mention in connection with the books that I showed you. First, I want to add one thing more about probability by Lev Tarasov, and that is that the probabilistic outcome of some probability law is new information is created. For example, when gravity, through gravity many particles are collected and a new planet is formed, Earth for example, it is a kind of information. That is the entropy with negative sign, negentropy. And that is information which has been created. David Deutsch in his book calls it knowledge that has been created. And of course we people can learn it, can acquire it. So at the Big Bang, for example, how the things started and how the universe evolved, or I prefer to say developed, many new objects appeared, like stars, planets, quasars, galaxies, and so on, which can be classed as information because they are new things. And they are, as David Deutsch says, knowledge. That is why he, according to me, has the best argument against theism. And this is, if somebody at the beginning created the world as it is now, how did this person have all the knowledge of how things will develop, evolve, and what new things will appear? They are emergences. When a new something appears by the collection of particles, of smaller things, then this new something has properties of its own that the parts of it do not share, do not have. For example, the neurons in our brain are little parts of an organism, but they do not have consciousness. But they together, the network between them and the electrical net that is between them creates consciousness. And of course there are many other emergences, which we can call information or knowledge. So, this being at the beginning could not know all these processes and to what they would lead, and the new information or knowledge would be created, because many of these things are spontaneous. They cannot be predetermined and set to develop. Sorry about the slapdashness of this video. I will try to elaborate in other videos later. Bye!